Tonight on the Black Channel, it doesn't take very long to show you the differences between how the media treats you when it's black and white. Hang on to your hats. White supremacy's spin job is going to be hard to keep up with. This is the Black Channel. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, we're going to have us a bit of a retrospective in black and white. We're going to have a little bit of a review here because I think it is necessary to do so. For those of you who may not have heard about this, and it's understandable that you might not have heard about this, it's perfectly understandable if you didn't. In the event that you did not hear about this, up-and-coming, rising film star, banner holder, I guess, standard bearer for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as of late, Mr. Jonathan Majors found himself in a bit of a predicament here. He got arrested for an incident, apparently with his girlfriend in New York City. Apparently something like that happened. You see that he was arrested for, according to the Daily Mail, for assault, harassment, and strangulation. Now, I didn't know strangulation is a separate offense from assault. Assault, harassment, and strangulate. So harassment and strangulation are two separate things. I mean, assault and strangulation are two separate things. Was Daniel Pantaleo ever charged with strangulation, by the way? I didn't know they were two separate things. Folks, they've already got a law on the books for literally any offense you can possibly think of or name. There's already a law on the books that criminalizes anything you could possibly think of to indict somebody on. There's already 2 or 3 laws for each individual thing. Each individual one. Says, police tell the Daily Mail that the unidentified woman was taken to the hospital in stable condition with minor injuries to her head and neck. If he were Asian, that would be legit. You don't have to do it. All you have to do is offend them, and that's all that's necessary. So, all right. Jonathan Majors was spotted leaving a New York City courthouse after being charged with 2 counts of assault in the 3rd degree, aggravated harassment, and attempted assault. Wait a minute, assault and attempted. There's a whole lot to unravel here. The Creed star, 33, was taken into custody on Saturday morning. In new photos of Majors leaving the criminal court of New York City, the actor is seen wearing a baseball hat with the words "Freedom, Freedom" on it and a large surgical mask. So in case you were wondering what it looked like there it is. There's Mr. Major leaving, quote, the criminal court of New York. You can see the sign back there and everything. Boy, they were waiting. That means somebody on the inside was tipping off here. Somebody was on the inside was tipping off. So he's leaving the courthouse because they do court 7 days a week in New York. And you still can't get your case heard in a timely fashion. So that's what happened there. Jonathan is out and it's freedom, freedom. It's freedom, freedom. It is freedom, freedom. And quite frankly, I'm sitting around and I want this to be a teaching moment. Let me say first, before I say anything else, before I say another word, let me be very, very clear in what I'm about to say next. I don't give a damn what they accuse him of doing. I really, really don't. If you don't have a body in the trunk, spare me. because I just heard the international news media give Dana White a pass and he was smacking his woman up on video. Oh, hell no. You're not going to sit up here and say that's the enclave of the rich and famous. Y'all know we already did this before in my program about Dana White. I don't want to hear it. The CEO of the San Francisco Giants can literally drag his woman. I showed y'all that on video. He can drag her. Y'all ain't got nothing to say. Don't say a damn thing to me about Jonathan Major. Let him be king. Get the cameras back rolling. Nothing to see here. Let him be king. You don't have a damn thing to say to me as far as I'm concerned. Let him be king. Period. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Oh, no, I mean it like that. I literally mean what I'm saying. I don't want to hear a thing. You're not going to sit up here and have selective amnesia, selective outrage. You ain't going to do that. No, you're not. No, you're not. Put him back in front of the cameras and let's go ahead and finish up this crappy ass Marvel Phase 5. Cut that man his check. I don't want to hear a damn thing from here on out. Nothing to see here. Let the cameras roll. I'm saying that full-throated. You're not going to sit up here and sit up here and tell us that the only folk we need to go after are black folk when something like that happens. The hell we do. No, we don't. Nothing happened here. And I want to say one more thing here, by the way. I just want to say one more thing. If it was the white girlfriend, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. But y'all got to understand they're going to be big mad about that, right? If it was a white woman, they're going to be big mad. They're going to be big mad. This big black muscular buck is sitting up here. Them females been falling at his damn feet all this time. Man, look here. Let them fall. Let them fall. Let them fall. Y'all going to be all right. Let them fall. Don't sit up here and tell us we got to get outraged about nothing. Now, there is one more point I do want to touch on here very briefly, because I would be remiss in my duties if I did not do that. There is one point that I need to touch on here, and it is Brother Jonathan, Brother Majors. I was saying then that I don't know if you think you playing the game. I don't know exactly what the motive may be here in what you're doing. When we saw this happening, we were all like, I hope he doesn't think he's getting brownie points. I hope he doesn't think that's going to happen. I hope he's not under the impression that this is showing them that you are not a threat. I hope this wasn't an attempt to show them that you're not a threat. I want y'all to understand something here. Because I was the first person probably to go out and go say this when I was saying the whole time. When I was comparing about Hollywood stars, I was talking about Ezra Miller. And folks, this thing right here, when something like this happens, all the folks let their true colors come out. From this website here, WeGotThisCovered.com. Take a look how Mr. Scott Campbell is doing this. Ezra Miller gets dragged into the Jonathan Majors discourse because everything has to be Marvel versus DC. No, everything has to be just versus unjust. Everything has to be just versus unjust. So if the headlines and the stories and the articles didn't look the same, I'm not going to roll with it. Shout out to my man Famously Blacker in the super chat. Appreciation for the knowledge, wisdom, tenacity, and fervor. Keep going. We're going to continue doing that. Operating through truth and love, let it fly. No, let him be king. We are kings. Let him do what he do. Let him do what he do. Shout out Iris Peebles. Let him do what he do. You damn right. Big shout out Famously Blacker. Thank you very much. I hope you can pay the rent this month. But we're going to keep roasting them. Now, I want you all to hear this article here. This is dedicated to my man, Famously Blacker. Man, girl, man, I hope. I want you all to check this one out. Because I think Famously Blacker would like this. Check this out. and hang on to your hats. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is, social media will always find a way to turn almost anything into a Marvel versus DC debate, and the latest to be tarred with the ignominious brush is inevitably the recent arrest of Jonathan Majors. Folks, I'm not reaching. Hang in there. I'm not reaching. The Kang the Conqueror actor hasn't officially been charged with any offenses yet, but he is staring at allegations, so they arrest you and don't charge you? What type of nigga law is this? He's looking at allegations of strangulation, assault, and harassment. Naturally, his team has been quick to deny any wrongdoing on the 33-year-old's part, but there have already been widespread calls from Marvel Studios to immediately recast his role in the franchise. You don't even know if you're doing the right thing or not. Well, it doesn't matter. Hang this nigga out to dry. In another sadly predictable twist, why is it predictable? Mr. Campbell, why is it predictable? Now let's see if the writer of this article remains honest or whether the writer of this article turns into a dishonest liar. Let's see. In another sadly predictable twist, it hasn't taken long for DCU veteran Ezra Miller to be dragged into the mix. With the Flash star facing some highly publicized troubles of their own that led to several charges being filed, a couple of courtroom appearances, and ultimately a fine and a promise on the on-screen Scarlet Speedster's behalf to seek professional help. He's been terrorizing folk for years. But okay. Now take a look at this next part here. These are some of the tweets that this article writer puts in this article. These are some of the tweets that they put in this article. It's an unsavory debate for an unsavory moment, but Twitter has nonetheless been comparing the respective fortunes of Majors and Miller as everyone expected them to. So this ain't about no damn Marvel and DC. This is not about Marvel and DC. So dishonest white supremacist adjacent writers sit up here and do things like this, but there's a point, because you are going to get the info, news, and analysis you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. First tweet here says, anybody without a non-Jonathan Majors or Ezra Miller biography would be immediately canceled over allegations of violence against a woman. Done. Disappeared. Career over-installed, whether innocent or not, but not these two. They'll be just fine. Are you sure, Roman Polanski? Are you sure, Dana White? Are you sure, sir? Are you certain? Either your ignorance or your white supremacy is showing. I'm not sure, but are you sure? It'll be interesting to see how the industry will react to the Jonathan Majors news, considering they've shielded and protected individuals such as Ezra Miller, Mel Gibson, Chris Brown, Roman Polanski. Chris Brown was not shielded nor protected. Chris Brown, the only person here that you name who actually had to go to jail or had to go to court and wear the orange damn jumpsuit was Chris Brown. Chris Brown is the only one got drugged through court in the damn orange jumpsuit. What the hell you talking about? Chris Brown was the only one getting sentenced like that. What the hell you talking about? Shielded from what? Chris Brown got shielded how? You gonna just drag a black person's name into it. Chris Brown got shielded how? He got shielded where? Got shielded how? Y'all can go look up the pictures of Chris Brown in his orange jumpsuit facing the judge. He's the only one that you can say that about on this list. Roman Polanski is still globetrotting Interpol, and nobody else has come to get him. The fact that so many people's first response to Jonathan Majors possibly being an abuser is Ezra Miller, is that competition, or worrying about the MCU is crazy. Glad everyone has their priorities straight. Nobody's talking about no MCU, but there's a reason they keep doing this. The difference is that there's so much evidence about Ezra Miller, and I don't know why people in the replies are so nice to Jonathan but not to Ezra. The difference is that there's so much evidence about Ezra Miller, and they had done these Jonathan Majors allegations are very recent, and we haven't got a lot of information on it as of now. I'm really disgusted that people on Instagram are making these jokes about Jonathan Majors and how he's being the new Ezra Miller of Marvel now. Like he's not even in court yet or anything, and people just want to do this to be funny. It's not. It's a serious thing. I agree. It is a serious thing. It is a serious thing. And if you're wondering why I skipped over one tweet, it's because there's something I want you all to learn here. By the way, if you all like tonight's program, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button. It's over 3,000 people watching live right now, and we're just in the first 15 minutes. And I want to show you what we're up against, but if you agree with me tonight, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button. This is a very serious ordeal. You can see here it says there are a lot. Now, this one tweeter said, sorry, Miss Jackson 702. They're verified, or at least they paid for a blue check mark. There are a lot of hypocrites tonight talking about there shouldn't be a rush to judgment when it comes to Jonathan Majors. But where was that same energy for Ezra Miller? Now, what type of demented, devious, deviant, dishonest, deplorable individual would say or do something like that? So I decided to take it upon myself to go investigate further. So this is Sorry Miss Jackson, MBA, useless degree, bookworm, no life, animal lover, cat lady, rock and roller, stoner, Batman fan, former print and journalist who couldn't keep a job, who dislikes the mainstream media because you probably couldn't keep a job, dim, lib, ally, hashtag Ezra Miller is innocent, and got 159 followers. You paid, wait, hold on a minute. Stop. You either paid for or whatever, you paid for this blue check mark to speak to 159 people? So you're a bad journalist and a bad business person. This doesn't even make financial sense. You got a blue check mark so you can speak to 159 people? I'm making you more famous right now than you've ever been. You got a blue check mark so you can go speak to 159 people. You could have spoken to more people in Times Square for free. Where did these people come from? All right, I want you to check out what happened here. I want you to check this out. Here's the link to the actual tweet. You can go ahead and see this now and watch how this goes. So you see the original tweet here. And then when we go down to the comments section, let's see what the commenters had to say. And this is the lesson I wanted us to get here tonight. We're just in the first 17 minutes, but this is the lesson I wanted us to get to. Marvel is better, so we care more for them. The day. Okay, whatever. Because he doesn't make the girlies hot, I guess. Anyway, we get more Ezra in the DCU and end of the line for Johnny Boy. Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that one? Did you see that? His problem is the females are digging Jonathan. He goes straight for that. So this isn't woman hating? Is this female phobic? So this isn't woman hating? I mean, he just let it come out with it. Well, the problem is that Ezra Miller don't get the women hot. Ezra Miller don't do that. So since Ezra don't do that, that's a problem. That Jonathan can get it like that, and ain't nobody trying to snuggle up with them it. They it. Nobody's trying to snuggle up with cousin it. You damn right. The females would rather get next to Jonathan with his pink feather boa and his red roses. Yes, they would rather get next to him than to be next to Deviant McFly, and you hating it. This got to be a hard one on you for that right there. It's like, yeah, they still rather do that. Exactly. Agreed. They're agreeing with the original post. Why aren't we defending Ezra Miller? There's nothing to defend, damn it. Now, in the comment section, some of the folks here took him to task. but some of the others didn't. That's why I want you all to keep scrolling down. They just don't like gay people, pure and simple. Their hypocrisy and bias is so blatant. I'm not even mad of how transparent it is. So if you all want to know what this is really about and how it is the man can find himself getting arrested, this is what it comes down to right here. This is what it comes down to. It comes down to this. It comes down to the idea that, y'all got to understand, for the last 40 years, I've told you about this before, there's a word and a term that the magazines always use when they're talking about a male sex symbol. When they talk about a male sex symbol, the word they use is hunk. He's a hunk. But for all of my adult life, you never heard them refer to black males as a hunk. Brad Pitt was a hunk. Tom Cruise, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. We can go down the list. White men, that's the word they used for white men. Matthew McConaughey, that word was used for white men. But you can't find them invoking that term for black men. You see, so what does that tell you? It tells you that the word hunk is a code word. It tells you that the word hunk is a code word. So that when you hear that word, you know it's safe for the women to start drooling and get hot and bothered because that's a white man. It's only been in very recent, heartthrob, that's another one, heartthrob, hunk. Yeah, the white supremacist media has made those code words, but they made sure you don't refer to Denzel Washington as a hunk. You can call Denzel Washington handsome after all them long decades. Yeah, maybe we'll let you get away with calling him handsome. But you will not refer to him as a hunk. You will not refer to him as a heartthrob. You will not refer to him that way. We don't call him that. So it doesn't matter whether you are in print media or televised media. When you hear the word hunk, you know they're only talking about a white man. Just a white man. It's only been in recent years that you started to see that get relaxed a little bit, but it's only being relaxed because now they're switching to other means to do things. So here you have Jonathan Major, who found himself being promoted by the Disney Corporation, and he has never missed an opportunity to take his shirt off. He's never missed an opportunity anywhere to take his shirt off and show people what he's working with. And it just became undeniable. And it was all good for a minute. It was all good for a minute. It was all good for just a minute. Just a minute. Because these other folks out here were letting you know we knocking that down. We knocking that down. And by the way, y'all see they went after Jonathan early. They said, yeah, Michael B. Jordan slipped through. We're going after him early. We're going after him early. You ain't gonna get to Civil War or Secret Wars. You ain't gonna get to the big Avengers movie. You won't get there. You won't even get there. So the point that I'm making here tonight is I want you to understand that when I mentioned about this before with that ebony photo shoot for Valentine's Day, and I'm like, and Jonathan's doing the most out there right now. Well, Jason, is he gay? I don't know if he is or if he isn't. I do know that they aren't claiming him. I do know that the white LGBT community is not claiming him. They're coming out with the long knives and the flaming swords. I do know that they are not claiming him. I don't know what point he wants to make. Yeah, I know about the photographs with Michael. I'm just saying, I don't know what point he was trying to make or wasn't trying to make, but this is what they're doing. Right now, tonight, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Don't you know they've been waiting for this for a minute? Don't you know they've been waiting for this for a minute? They've been waiting to go ahead and make this move. So they're like, hey, we're just going to hang back. That train's coming. We don't really need anything serious. Folks, do you understand how technically impossible it is to avoid a situation like this in Hollywood or the world today? Do you know how impossible it is? I'm going to get to her in just a moment. Hang tight. I'm going to get to it in just a moment. Hang tight. Hang tight. But do you all understand how impossible it is to avoid that? We just got finished with Michael Irvin being falsely accused. Michael Irvin was sitting there yelling the whole damn time, hey, this heifer lying. Where's the damn video? Him and his attorneys had to go through some judicial jujitsu to get the video away from the Marriott Corporation because Marriott was refusing to release the video. His attorneys asked, hey, why don't you release the video to the public and then we'll see if we want to take this up. Marriott stood firm. Marriott stood firm. Marriott stood firm that Michael Irvin had done something to one of their people and that they were not going to release the video. We're not releasing the video and we're standing by our employee. We looked at the video and it clearly shows that Michael Irvin assaulted her. Clearly it does, but we're not going to release the video. You all can go look that up. Marriott said we're not releasing that video. But we're going to keep saying that Michael Irvin did something wrong. But we're fighting releasing the video. So what happened is because they didn't know, the hotel they were at was Marriott branded, but they didn't know where Renaissance was headquartered out of. But they wanted to get their hands on the video first. So what they did was they sued Marriott Corporation in Texas because Marriott has a corporate entity in every state of the union. Even though they knew that the hotel, whoever operated the hotel, wasn't probably in Texas, they were somewhere else. But his attorneys filed suit in federal court so that they could subpoena and get their hands on the video, even though they knew that they couldn't successfully win a case against Marriott by filing in the federal court in Texas. But they did it because by filing in Texas, they could immediately start disclosure and they could immediately start getting their hands on the evidence, including the video. Marriott filed in federal court to dismiss the case. They wanted to dismiss the case without releasing the video. So they were like, hey, they're trying to sue us in the wrong municipality. They shouldn't be allowed to get the video. At no time did Marriott concede that they were in the wrong and that they were lying. At no point did they do that. They were like, hey, you're suing in the wrong jurisdiction and we want the case dismissed. Well, they upset the judge and the judge told Marriott that you have until the end of business Friday. And that was like on Thursday. They said you have until tomorrow to release that video. Next thing you know, the next day came and all of a sudden, Marriott, who had been holding so strong, Marriott, who had been so accusatory, all of a sudden, Marriott starts backtracking the next day. Soon as the video comes out, they start backtracking the very next day. Very next day. But that didn't help Michael because ESPN, the NFL Network and ABC Disney had already suspended him. That didn't help him. As soon as the allegations were made, they immediately suspended him behind false allegations. With a mega corporation like Marriott standing on it. Marriott was standing on that. Marriott was going to court and saying, yeah, he assaulted our employee, but we don't want to release the evidence. But we're still here to say, yes, he assaulted our employee. We saw the video. He did it. Then as soon as the video hits the airwaves, Marriott starts backtracking. Now Michael Irvin's attorneys, now that they got the evidence, they filed to dismiss their case in Texas, and they have immediately filed in Las Vegas, Nevada, to go after Renaissance and Marriott. And I hope they get $1 billion. I hope they get $1 billion. Because let me tell you something. A black woman can't go off and accuse a white man of scratching her on the neck and then he goes to jail. A black woman cannot sit up here. And by the way, Jonathan Majors was the one who called the police. For those of you who didn't know, he was the one who called the police. The police show up and say, thank you very much for calling us. Get your black ass in the back of this paddy wagon. By the way, Jonathan was the one who called the police. And as soon as the police showed up, they said, yeah, thank you for calling us. Get your ass in this car. Get your ass in this car. Yeah, but I called y'all because she was wilding out. Yeah, nigga. Tell it to the judge. No, Jonathan was the one who called the police saying, hey, she wilding out. The police showed up. Okay, what's the issue? Oh, white woman? Oh, look here, we was kangs. You is arrested. Wayhap, Arizona, not Las Vegas. Okay, Arizona. I thought it was Vegas. They go ahead and grabbed his ass and threw him in the back of the car and said, thank you very much for calling us out here. We appreciate it. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now, you show me a black woman who's been able to do something like that. You got black women who've been beat up, thrown in the trunks of cars, chained up in the back of the damn house, and you can't get them to say anything. Ed Buck, they were wheeling the bodies out of Ed Buck's house for years. Excuse me? They were wheeling the bodies out of Ed Buck's house for years. Years. And said, nothing to see here. Nothing unusual about this. 3-4 dead people, same house, same man, same block. Nothing to see here. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, every time folk go down the street, they disappear. Don't go near Jeffrey's house. Everybody on the block knew, you don't get caught around Jeffrey's house. You won't be coming back. And yet they allowed him to sit up here and snack on innocent bystanders for years and years. Robert Durst. For those of you who saw that HBO special about him, The Jinx, Robert Durst. Not only did he kill people, remember down in Texas, he killed one person, dismembered them. He killed one person and dismembered them, remember? Chopped their heads off. And then told the court it was self-defense. Told the court it was self-defense, remember, and got acquitted. He sat up here, dismembered them, chopped them up, told them it was self-defense, and they acquitted him in Texas. Folks, not New York, not San Francisco, Texas. Where they got innocent black men in prison to this day for crimes that they did not commit. But in Texas, Robert Durst, this is second, third killing, could sit up here, chop the person up, slice off the head, and sit up here and say, okay, we good. It was self-defense, and the jury in Texas said, okay, we can believe that. That's what I would do. I would kill the person, chop them up into pieces, slice off their head. Oh yeah, he dumped the body in the river, dumped the body in a lake, put cinder blocks around it, dumped the body in a lake. Yeah, y'all, he did the whole full damn me mob hit. Grabbed the body, dumped it in the lake, put cinder blocks on it, drowned the body, took the head, kept it in the box, and then told the jury when they finally arrested him, oh yeah, I mean, self-defense. Oh, okay, fine. Self-defense. 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 As far as his girlfriend is concerned, I'm not going to necessarily say that there are lessons to be learned here, but what I will say is reports are already coming out from his people that she's recanted her story, and my thought on that is it doesn't matter. To anybody sitting up here talking about his girlfriend has recanted her story, it don't matter. You all need to get up to speed. This is not about you sitting up here slithering your way through social media headlines. I'm talking about keep yourself awake and alive here and up to speed. Are you actually using your brain? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You're not paying attention. You're sitting up here with your eyeballs glued to your cell phone. It doesn't matter if you are a black person in America, but specifically a black male, you are guilty until incarcerated. I did not say guilty until proven innocent. You are guilty until incarcerated. It doesn't matter if they find incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, they will still keep mentioning it in that way. I did a documentary with Yusef Salaam, one of the Central Park Five. You remember Donald Trump was standing by that till the day they kicked him out of office. Try to keep up, Bunky. If you're black in America, you are guilty until convicted. O.J. Simpson, acquittal, what the hell is that? They still keep referring to O.J. Simpson as guilty no matter what the verdict of the jury was. But they don't refer to George Zimmerman as guilty. Notice, I'm not saying about them saying convicted. The media refers to O.J. Simpson as guilty. That O.J. Simpson killed his wife. O.J. Simpson got off for killing his wife. They don't speak about O.J. Simpson as a person. It is always O.J. Simpson is guilty. Don't give a damn what the jury said. Don't give a damn what the evidence said. You're guilty. In no uncertain terms. People, do you know they don't even talk about the cops who kill black folk? They don't even talk about them as guilty. They don't even talk about them like that. It's always a matter of opinion. Are you sure? There's more evidence. There's more evidence. Let me be clear about this one moment here. In the chat room, Ty Quinn, no, I meant what I said. I didn't say ex-wife. Do you all understand that the media many times still refers to her as his wife? I'm not using the prefix X because a lot of the times the media isn't using the prefix X. So keep in mind, dishonest as it is, they want to shackle her to him. Doesn't matter what the reality is, doesn't matter what the truth is, doesn't matter anything. They're going to just keep saying that. Bill Cosby never admitted to raping anyone and was never convicted of rape. What do people on social media and broadcast media keep saying? Bill Cosby and rape. Even though literally that is not what happened, nor is that what he was what the conviction was based on. That didn't occur and that wasn't part of the conviction, but they keep using that word. Even though we've all been steadfast about correcting them on that, they just keep saying it. Over and over and over again. Correct. Nate Parker wasn't even a celebrity. He was able to get himself exonerated from that, or at least acquitted on that. They proved it wasn't true. That didn't stop them from continuing to say it. That didn't stop them. If you're black, we want to make sure that you never get too big. We want to make sure that now here's the crazy part. If you're a black male, you can be stigmatized. Nobody else can be stigmatized. You can't stigmatize white people. Paula Deen, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Hulk Hogan, you can't stigmatize them. They can do whatever. They can do whatever and they'll be good. We'll be at WrestleMania. We'll be on A&E. Let me get my new cooking show. You all remember, they made a joke of it. They made a joke of it. Let me ask you all a question right quick. Has Snoop Dogg ever been sentenced to prison? I want to ask you all a question. Has Snoop Dogg ever been sentenced to prison? I didn't say county jail. Has Snoop Dogg ever been sentenced to prison? Think about that for just a few moments. Yeah, he was accused, he's been arrested, he's faced charges, but has Snoop Dogg ever been in the custody of the state as a prisoner in the penal system? No, he never has. Then will someone please explain to me what is the similarity between Snoop Dogg, who was never sent to prison, and Martha Stewart, who was? They put Martha Stewart next to Snoop Dogg as if there was some sort of similarity or resemblance between the two. Snoop Dogg ain't never been to prison. Damn me, Martha Stewart has done 100% more prison time than Snoop Dogg. That's to say she's done any. But do you remember they put her right next to him as if the two of them are simpatico? Look it up. As if the two of them are equivalent. Do you all remember that? Yeah, some of you are mind blown. You hadn't thought about that before. By the way, they put her right next to Snoop Dogg as if the two of them are contemporaries. But they're not. Snoop has never been convicted of anything. He's never been sentenced on anything. But they grabbed Martha Stewart and put her next to him to give the association that the two of them are the same, when in reality only one of them is a convicted felon. Just one. And it ain't the black male. Martha is more gangster than Snoop is. She's got the record to prove it. Snoop ain't never had to show no paperwork on the yard. Let me tell you, Snoop ain't never had to show no paperwork on the yard. Martha Stewart done had to show hers, or at least show some recipes. Snoop has never had to show no paperwork. Snoop has never had to hit the weight bench. Snoop has never had to go to chow hall. Martha Stewart did. They put her next to him, and it makes the association in your mind that we're looking at two felons. No, you're not. You're looking at one. You're looking at one. But understand, people would say that her felon credentials come as a result of Snoop, not the other way around. Not the other way around. So don't tell me about Jonathan Majors got to be convicted. The girlfriend is recanting. Dude, the damage is done. That's it. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. The only thing that's going to save Jonathan now is if black people stand 10 toes down and firm by him and do not allow them to sit up here and Bill Cosby him. That's the only thing he got. Remember, I said that about Kyrie Irving. Jason, is there any hope for Kyrie? I said if black folks stand strong for him, if black people as a group stand strong and don't move, Kyrie's going to be okay. That's the only chance he's got. If black folks stand strong, if black people get divided and splintered over him, he's going down. He's going down. If black folks stand strong for Jonathan Majors, he's got a shot. If black folks stand strong and say, hey, the evidence is the evidence, she recanted the story, let this man alone. If black folk as a group do that, he's got a chance. If black folk become divided or splintered, that's it, he's gone. That's it, he's gone. He's done. So about the girlfriend and everything, man, that doesn't matter. You better stay up to speed about where you at in the world today in America. That does not matter. Because here's the thing. You do understand if it wasn't her, it was going to be somebody else, right? Shout out to my man Isaiah Washington. Y'all know I roll with Isaiah like that. Isaiah didn't commit a crime, nor is there any proof whatsoever that he called, what's his name, Knight, any sort of name. There's no proof that he did that. It's one person's word against another, and yet, take a look what happened on nothing more than a white man's accusation. No proof, no evidence, no anything. This white man says it, we're going to take action because he said it. Now, if you black, you can say it, and who really gives it? If you ain't got it on video, who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? Isaiah didn't commit a crime. Isaiah wasn't arrested. Isaiah wasn't charged. Isaiah didn't do anything illegal. Isaiah got the same damn treatment. That's what I'm trying to say. He got the same treatment. How can that be if what happens to you is a consequence of being a crime, has to be a consequence of having judicial or legal ramifications? It isn't. So if it hadn't been this, it would have been something else. If it hadn't been this, it would have been something else. Jason, what about Michael B. Jordan? They've chosen they nigga. No disrespect to Michael, but y'all know what it is. Hollywood chose Denzel back in the 80s. No shade, fantastic actor, but they chose him. Okay. After him, they chose Samuel L. Jackson. He had to come up through the ranks, but they chose Samuel L. He was older by the time he got on. He was older, but they chose Samuel. Then they chose Will Smith. Then, now they've chosen Michael B. Jordan. Okay, but remember the one nigga at a time rule. Remember the one nigga at a time. If two of you start to go into the ascendancy, we smacking one of you down. If two of you start getting to a point where you can be headliners, one of you got to go. In the chat room, you damn right. Denzel got to keep going. Wesley Snipes got smacked backwards, even though Wesley Snipes' movie Blade built the modern Marvel Cinematic Universe. Michael Keaton is back over there at DC. They done locked the doors on Wesley and changed the locks. Morgan Freeman ain't never been a headliner. Morgan Freeman is well known in Hollywood, but let's not do that. The biggest he ever really had was The Shawshank Redemption. Morgan Freeman has never been a headliner. You can't make a movie that says starring Morgan Freeman and that's all you need. No shade on Morgan Freeman. Fantastic historical actor. Absolutely. Mr. Headliner, that ain't what he is. Mr. Co-star, that's what Morgan Freeman is. They've always had him pigeonholed like that. Always. Always. We can go down the list. We can go down the list. So as far as folks being headliners of blockbusters, you already seen that. Denzel, Samuel L., Will Smith, and take a look at what happened to them. Denzel and Samuel L. are still swimming. Will Smith, well, that's a wrap for him. Will's done. They knew him sitting next to Jada. Oh, don't worry. He coming off the rails. He'll be done. He'll be done. Lawrence Fishburne, fantastic actor. Please tell me the movie that he has been the headliner in. John Wick is starring Keanu Reeves. Take a look at the front of the poster. There's a big picture of Keanu Reeves and nobody else. So stop throwing out names. If you want to know whether it matters or not, take a look at the movie poster. Take a look at the DVD cover. See who it is. See who it is. The Matrix, who was standing in front in The Matrix? Granted, that movie would not be what it is without Lawrence. Absolutely, positively not. Let's not sit up here and get confused. Look, some of you need to go look up what co-star means. Look, I don't have time to go over this point by point with you all night. Go to Google. Go look up what a co-star is. Go take a look at the movie posters. Go look at what a co-star is. Deep Cover was a fine movie. Deep Cover was one movie. Keanu Reeves was the headliner in Speed. Keanu Reeves was the blockbuster movie. Keanu Reeves was the headliner in The Matrix, blockbuster franchise. Keanu Reeves is the headliner in John Wick, blockbuster franchise. He didn't just do one movie. That's the problem. You can't become a Hollywood superstar off of just one movie. You have to have a body of work. You have to have a string of movies. Denzel has a body of work. He has a string of movies. Samuel L. Jackson has a body of work. He has a string of movies. Although technically speaking, to be totally honest with you, Samuel L. Jackson is really the most famous co-star there ever was. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, he really is the most famous co-star. Will Smith has a body of work. He has a string of hit movies. Michael B. Jordan is now assembling a body of work. He is now assembling a string of hit movies with his name at the top of the marquee and with his face being what sells it. Yeah, The Rock. Dwayne Johnson has a string of hit movies. Even though things are getting a little thin now, he's had a string of hit movies built on nothing more than his name. Saying that Dwayne Johnson will sign up for your movie instantly gets $150, $200 million budget. Instantly. You can't say that. You can't say that for Lawrence Fishburne. No shade on Lawrence. Fantastic, historic actor. He is one of the best who has ever walked the earth or stepped on the stage. I'm talking about Hollywood's rules about who is Mr. Blockbuster. That's what I'm talking about. Stop saying Martin Lawrence, dude. You got Tourette's. Martin Lawrence, stop doing that, dude. You sound like you got Tourette's. Martin Lawrence is not a headliner of a blockbuster film. You can name a couple of nice ones. You can't name a Rush Hour. You can't name a blockbuster film franchise that Martin Lawrence has been a part of. Dude, it's like you're on smelling salts or something, bath salts or something. Martin Lawrence, what about Martin? What about, dude, this is not your Aunt Sadie's house party, man. Knock it off. Get sober. Are you really talking about Bad Boys? Excuse me, Bad Boys, Michael Bay literally said who he was focused on in Bad Boys. Go listen to the DVD commentary from the first Bad Boys movie. Will Smith was the man in Bad Boys on account of the Fresh Prince. Some of you just need to go Google and learn how these things work. that was literally what prevented them from making any more movies, because Martin Lawrence wanted to have equal billing to Will Smith, and the studio was like, we'll recast the role before we do that. Will Smith is who makes this franchise, not you. Remember, there was a big schism for the longest time because of that. Because Hollywood made it very clear to Martin that this is Will Smith's movie. So some of the stuff that was happening in the movie, Martin Lawrence was constantly the butt of the jokes. With the family members and stuff, Martin Lawrence was constantly the butt of the jokes. So Will Smith was more of the straight man and more serious, and Martin Lawrence was more of the foil. Google is the friend to some of y'all. Some of y'all just need to go Google and go learn about these things. Some of you just need to go Google and learn about it. Bad Boys was Will Smith's vehicle. That's Will Smith's vehicle. There's a lesson to be learned here, and I want everybody to soak this up. Recognize where you're at. Jonathan, this will serve as a cautionary tale and a teaching moment. I want folk to recognize and understand going forward here, man, you are always under the gun. You are always in the crosshairs. You ain't gonna get the Dana White treatment. You're not gonna get that at all. And they are just being upfront and brutal with it. Oh, we ain't giving you any leeway. Time for us to cash that ticket in. I'm not going to say that Jonathan is finished. I hope Jonathan isn't. I'm going to stand by Jonathan, if for no other reason than I'll be damned if y'all going to sit up here and run him through the ringer. I'll be damned if you're going to sit up here and run him through the ringer. And then sit up here and you're going to sit up here and start doing things to Jonathan Major. That's the problem there. I'm not going to stand by it. I don't give a damn who doesn't like it. I'm not going to stand by it. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break here. Before we do, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support tonight. Once again, big shout out here to Famously Blacker. Thank you very much for your sponsorship tonight. My man Chadwick, thank you very much for your support. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go to the phone lines and take some of your calls. This is the Black Channel.
Arc Motion Pictures, your leading production house for handmade, high-end movies for us, by us. Grab your popcorn and drinks as Arc Motion Pictures presents you with binge-worthy visual entertainment that will leave you breathless. Stream all our titles for free. Visit our website to see Noxious, Noxious 2, Cold Case, and Valley of the Queens. Planned Obsolescence. These power-packed, innovative, and unforgettable flicks tick the boxes of all you could ever want in a movie. And coming soon to keep you at the edge of your seat. Await our most anticipated movie release. Escape from Velocity. Arc Motion Pictures. Broadcast excellence. Look for us on Tubi, Amazon, and wherever movies are streamed.
D23 lights can help you find your flow. Revolutionizing healthcare to self-care. D23.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com. northred.com.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Joe Jackson. I'm a foundational Black American, and I entered the field of IT with the goal of helping the family globally. The industry's been changing, and I've learned a lot. But how did we get here? How do we navigate issues we face in the workplace? How can we get our house in order? Read The Concept and Intricacies of Being Black in IT, now on Amazon, as well as the best-selling Guide to Being Black in IT. Go to beingblackinit.com.
More Threads. A brand owned by a descendant of Black American freedmen was created to uniquely address Black American history and contributions that have been intentionally hidden and suppressed. Use their apparel and more to learn and share the Black American history of Black inventions, heroes, towns, Black business districts, and more. Sign up and support not only a Black-owned business, but a movement at www.morethread.co.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you are welcome to join us. And we're talking today about black and white media narratives. We're talking about that today in the case of Jonathan Major. Boy, I'm telling you, break out, broken over. Break out, break up. That's all it is. Break out, broken up. Or what's that? Break out, break down. That's what I meant to say. Break out, break down. He had his big career break out. Now he's having his big career break down. How he handles this, we're going to see. What I'm going to do about it, I'm going to stand strong. If Dana White can't get this work, if Dana White can't get this work, if Ezra Miller can't get this work, then how the hell you gonna sit up here and sign Jonathan Majors up for it? Nope. Get that man an Uber from the courthouse so he can get back to the studio and start filming again. I'll be damned. We can recast him. Ain't nobody died. We don't have to recast anything. We're good just like we are. We good just like this. Let me go buy my tickets. We good just like this. I might fall asleep in the theater because Phase 5 is trash, but I'll be right there. If you're not going to tell the UFC that this is the way it's got to be, if we ain't running Dana White out of there, how the hell is all of a sudden Jonathan Majors is public enemy number one? Does this look like public enemy number one to you? Does this look like a clear and present danger to you? Does this look like an imminent threat to you? He's an imminent threat to 1-800-Flowers. He is not a threat to the public. Please, what's he going to do? Beat you to death with his paisley? Folks are crazy. In any case, we're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence. Let's go ahead and hit up the phone lines here. All right, we got a caller from, where is that? Area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Charles Jr. from New Orleans.
Charles, New Orleans. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Black? B1 family. What I want to say about the Jonathan Majors situation is that if he does survive this, I mean, he probably already is, but he's going to go on an apology tour, and we're going to see him become more compromised. He's going to start taking more roles to say that black men, you know, are more effeminate, things of this nature. And I remember seeing a interview they did recently for the Creed 3 promotion, and he was talking about masculinity and how it was fluid. And I saw that Judge O'Brown did a masterful breakdown about that. So we're going to start seeing things of that nature and him taking on more compromised roles for that.
Well, like I said, I mean, they were already steering him in that direction. The buck breaking starts early. That Ebony photo shoot started early. But what it really shows you is it wasn't enough. So I'm predicting it's going to be like, okay, we grabbed this dude right here. We kind of pulled him out of nowhere. We're going to elevate him. And then we're going to, I said it then, we're going to use him as the example of black masculinity that we're going to break. We're going to hold him up. We're going to make him internationally famous. And then we're going to break him in front of everybody. So what I'm telling you is the usual that we've seen, that's not going to be enough. They're going to try it. I'm not going to say they're going to succeed, but they're going to try it. The usual won't be enough. They're going to want some real degeneracy is what they're going to want. They're going to want, what I'm saying is they're going to want some slave play out of him. That's going to be what they're going to do. They're going to want some slave play.
Definitely. Well, thank you for taking my call, Mr. Black.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 305. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? Jason, man. Always good to hear from you, brother. Call him from Miami by way of Burlington, Vermont. Ibrahim.
All right, Ibrahim, what's on your mind?
You right. You definitely right about Lawrence Fishburne. He should have been blew up. That girl, that Woman King girl, they made her blow up way quicker than Lawrence Fishburne. You definitely correct about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all staged. It's all engineered. They put the money behind who they want. They want to know what's going on. In Will Smith's case, you know, accusations of sexuality to the side, Will Smith, it was his time, and he was the one they felt safest about. Will Smith has never been a threat to the system. Take a look at Will's children. He's not raising revolutionaries. Will Smith is not raising revolutionaries. Take a look at his daughter with Shia LaBeouf. Take a look at his son. Now his son is sitting up here walking the catwalk for whoever in the hell them people are to make that dress. So they've always known that about Will. All the white folk about those parties where you sign the NDA before you can get in and stuff with Will Smith and friends, man, they've always known what he was. They've always known he's no threat. They've known that since before the Fresh Prince in Bel-Air. He wouldn't have got on NBC if he was a threat. Bill Cosby didn't get on NBC.
Weird because he was Philadelphia.
Well, Bill Cosby wasn't a threat like that. So Bill Cosby, they knew he had enough bones in his closet, enough skeletons in his closet. They're like, whenever we get ready to take him down, he's going. So it's okay for Bill Cosby to do A Different World because the machine ain't going to boost the girls in A Different World. No, none of the people. That interview that Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy did with The Breakfast Club. And I'm so glad that Jasmine, just let it loose after all these decades. But she was like, how is it you show... Okay, slow down, bro. Slow down. How in the world is it that you're going to show up here? She said you had 3 certified singers on A Different World. And yet, when it was time for the award shows, they talking to these white women on these other shows. But you got 3 certified singers on A Different World. So what she was acknowledging was the machines getting behind other people. You didn't see anybody from A Different World or a Cosby Show become a megastar. Not a one. Some of them became famous. Some of them might have had other shows they were on. Malcolm Jamal Warner is about as close as you get. But what happened to the cast of A Different World after A Different World? What happened to the cast of The Cosby Show after The Cosby Show? I think Rudy became a veterinarian. Nothing wrong with being a veterinarian. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I want you to think about that for a few moments. You were on one of the biggest shows on in television history, and nobody thought that you were suitable for another program? Nobody? Anywhere. That's one. Weird. Oh, everybody, I forgot one. Raven Simone. Yeah. Now, that's so Raven.
She stated too.
But then they knew what she was on. She was like, hey, I'm LGBT. They got, and even if she really wasn't, they turned her out. They got her early. They knew what they were doing. So what I'm saying is, even within the machine, you don't get boosted if you're a clear and present threat. Kadeem Hardison was obviously a threat. Jasmine Guy was obviously a threat. High Yella as she was, they were like, you ain't right. And now all these decades later, she's shown us what it is. Yeah, they weren't. If you ain't on the bandwagon, if you're not gonna back the play, and if you ain't gonna go along with it, we're not gonna have it. Will Smith, he's like, hey man, hand me the dress, hand me the panties, whatever I need, I'm gonna go do this, and I'm not putting up any fight to anything. Not to anything.
A lot of rappers doing that too.
Well, that's the reason why they were able to slip through. But they didn't slip through. That's the reason why they were chosen. All these black shows you can name, it doesn't matter what one you name, whoever was starring in it, that's the last time they starred in anything. Jaleel White, last time you starred in anything. Yep. The Bernie Mac show. Bernie Mac came in as the headliner. Bernie Mac never tried to hold anybody down, but the network didn't get behind anybody. Damon Wayans and Major Payne, they didn't get behind anybody. No, now if you say Cedric the Entertainer, Cedric had to build himself.
Some family movies.
No, Cedric had to get it himself. Cedric had to do it the hard way. You see, stand-up comedians are different. Stand-up comedians, if you really about their life, stand-up comedians basically are self-promoters because they literally go everywhere on their own. So they go from one city to another, one auditorium to another. They go to some small venues, hell, some of them at the Waffle House. So stand-up comedians are different in that basically all he needs is a microphone and a speaker and a place to stand, and he can make some money where he's at. But more importantly, they're constantly promoting themselves. Remember, Dave Chappelle spent the better part of a decade in the wilderness, but at the same time, he did over 2,500 shows during that time. So when he did come back, he had never let his name fade and go away, and Netflix had to drop the bag because he was constantly out there in the streets, constantly still moving. So where Cedric is concerned, he, as a comedian, he was always keeping his name out there and always working. So he was always on that cusp and marginal where we can put him in something. Now, had he been white, he'd have been starting 2 or 3 shows by now. If Cedric Entertainer was white, he'd have been headlining 2 or 3 shows. It would have been another version of Friends. But you ain't the right color. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 843. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Phil from Beaufort, South Carolina.
Phil from Beaufort, what's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I don't watch too many movies, but I wanted to talk about how, like, on the internet here, like on YouTube particularly, you got they got rid of Tommy Sotomayor, which is somebody who I used to like to watch, and I don't even know why they got rid of him, but you had Scott Adams make his rant like a couple of months ago, I think, and then he did another one last week, telling black folks that, I guess it's because of San Francisco or something, that they've gone too effing far. Telling black folks we've gone too effing far with stuff like wokeness, like we invented wokeness. And so, you got your who's this guy? I forgot the white guy's name. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's the biggest thing, but Tommy Sotomayor, the granddaddy of them all, as far as YouTube is concerned. And I'm trying to figure out why they even got rid of him. He does these lives, and as soon as he's off, they've taken it off the air.
Okay. Well, Buford, like I say, as usual, you've got your coon boots on. And that's all a great and wonderful thing. So as usual, you're doing what your genealogy tells you to do.
Production house for handmade.
You're just being the biggest coon you can be. So I can understand, Buford. You're doing your coon routine. Your coon routine is old now. Buford, don't ever call back again. You are banned from the Black Channel. Don't ever call back again, and hopefully you'll get run over by a car. As all coons should become, their destiny is to become roadkill. So you live like scum and a rat, and now you've died like one. Caller from area code 757, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tanya from Virginia Beach.
Tanya from Virginia Beach, what's on your mind?
Recently, I just wanted to add two observations I've seen both of them do. Major, when Angela lost the Oscar, they got up there and they said, "Hi, Auntie, and we love you." And white media, they were mad and they went crazy. And then secondly, as a promotion for the movie recently, they sat there and said they want to be the next Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in terms of acting, writing, and directing. So this is a hit and slap, and you're right.
Well, the whole reason for promoting you is that we got the goods on you, and one day, if we need to come and scuttle the ship, we're able to do it. That's the whole point of it. The whole point of them letting Bill Cosby through was because, unbeknownst to black society, because of what Bill Cosby had done in the 70s and the early 80s, when he got led into the Cosby Show, by the time he gets there, we're thinking he's solid. And because, we didn't have the internet back then, so your access to information, what's going on behind the scenes, was a lot more limited back then. Black folk didn't know Bill Cosby was doing all that. You had some insiders in Hollywood who knew what he was doing, but black folk as a group didn't know he was doing all that. Black folk didn't know he was moving like that. Because if we did, the reception to him at the Cosby Show would have been radically different if black folk had known that. But the folks who were hiring him did know it. So they were like, you know what? You can go ahead and do all that. Do your Jello pudding pops, Negro College Fund. You do all that. We know what you really are. We know what you really are. And one day we're going to punch that card. No, we're not going to do it right now, because you see, black people back in the 80s were a little bit too solid-minded. You're coming out of the 70s, a lot of black folk who were teenagers in the 60s that come of age. So it's still holding kind of hard right there. That blackness thing is still kind of hard. So we're going to let him in here because black folk need to see themselves on television. If they don't see themselves on television, they might take to the streets, because folks back then just want to be recognized. But we know how this story ends for you. Let's be very clear, y'all. For those of us back in the 80s, y'all remember Bill Cosby wasn't even the funniest comedian. Richard Pryor couldn't get a primetime show. Richard talked about that. Red Fox, they made him the junk man. Forget Dolomite. So Bill Cosby wasn't even the funniest one. Yeah, Bill Cosby was a comedian back in the 80s. He was moving and doing his thing. But y'all, let's keep it real. Bill wasn't even the funniest one. Paul Mooney was already moving by then. Bill wasn't even the funniest one. And yet, of everybody they could have chosen, they chose him. Yeah, because they knew what was going on. Richard wasn't really going to play the game the way they wanted him to. Bill was going to play it, but he was like, I'm going to play it my way. But they're like, okay, of all the options we have available, you're the best one. We're going to take you because we already know how we're going to cash you out. We already know that one day this is going to come to light. We already know about them NDAs and settlements you've made. Notice Bill Cosby was making settlements all over the damn place for the better part of a decade, and we never heard about any of this. We never heard about any of it. That tells you the machine was covering this up. But you know who that reminds you of? Tiger Woods. Never will forget it. You all can go take a look at it. Special comment, Keith Olbermann, he was talking about how in sports media at ESPN and Fox Sports, they had known about what Tiger Woods was doing for years. They knew for years that he was stacking up females all over the place. They knew for years that he was cheating on his wife in the dozens of females, not one or two. He got like over 100, literally over 100 women that he'd been sleeping with besides his wife. And they had known about it in professional sports for years, but they never said anything. The only reason they didn't say anything is because the women weren't saying anything. And because Tiger hadn't reached that zenith yet. So we still, white society believes in getting the hog fat. We're going to get the hog big and fat. And he's going to be so big and fat and obese and waddling around. And that's when you slaughter him. So they waited until Tiger Woods had passed everybody. And then next thing you know, oh, hey, Tiger, there's some pictures of you and this chick from Dave and Buster's. Well, yeah, but she's like number 118. Why didn't you say anything for the previous 117? Yeah, because you weren't big enough for us to do that then. It wasn't time yet. It wasn't time yet. Now it's time. We think we got some young white kid who's going to replace you. That didn't work out. By the way, that didn't work out. They thought they had a couple of young white kids that were going to replace him, and that didn't work out. So he survived it, but just understand they had been sitting on that information for years. They knew about all these dozens of women for years and never said anything. Never said anything. Now, that's not accidental. I'll let you have the last word.
Appreciate your insight. Thank you so much, B1.
Thank you very much for getting this call tonight. B1 as always. Let me get caller from area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is G from New Orleans.
G from New Orleans. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason. Just a great broadcast. Let me just make a couple of points about Jonathan Majors. He's innocent until proven guilty. We don't know all of the facts except for what's being reported. His attorneys aren't even saying the woman's recanting. I don't know. He deserves the presumption of innocence like anybody else. But I will point out something to what you're talking about with the national media. Let's go back a few years ago to what happened with Ray Rice when he, and it was documented because there was no bones before that video was released, when he assaulted his fiancée, who was now his wife. And everybody knew what happened. He told the NFL commissioner about it. She even went with him to the NFL's office and stated what happened, stated how she had instigated it and did such. And he set the punishment at 2 games. TMZ somehow gets the video, and this is even after the legal process has been handled. They leak it out. And Ray Rice's career subsequently is over. He's suspended indefinitely, released from the team. That same year, I don't know if the UFC guy who named War Machine, white boy, raped and beat his girlfriend almost to death. ESPN didn't talk about it. Fox Sports didn't talk about it. But all through the entire football season was Ray Rice. And let's not forget Ben Roethlisberger and his accusations. Jonathan Majors is going to get ready to be OJ.2. And it's a shame because his career is just getting started with this, but it just goes to show the hypocrisy. And let's not forget what Stephen Hidd Smith did this year when Dana White was seen on tape slapping his wife, even though she slapped him first. He said, let's give Dana White the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he didn't, at no time did he go straight to consequences. Stephen A. Smith did not go straight to demanding consequences at all. Him and what's her name, Molly Rose or whatever the hell her name is, that they went straight to comforting them. Nobody talking about consequences. They went straight to consoling and shamelessly. So it's just like, I'll be damned. But by the way, where are your feminists? Where are your feminists to go after her and Stephen A. Smith? Where are the feminists to sit up here and take out? I thought they were such a force, man. I thought they were such a force. I thought that if big old nose Tarana Burke show up, that it's all over for you. I thought it was curtains. No, it's only curtains if they got their crosshairs on you. So these are their tools that they use. So this is why I keep you're bringing up some good names. This is why I brought up Joe Biden. So Joe Biden, they tried to Me Too him. You saw how quickly they shut that down? That didn't take them a minute. The media was like, yeah, the female said, me too. They said, yeah, y'all gone. That was shut down immediately. Nobody did a Time magazine cover with all the women. Nobody did a New Yorker cover with all the women. There was no primetime interview with any of them. None.
Nope. No, there was no primetime interview. And let me just say this too, with regards to Bill Cosby, because I've talked about this case a lot and looked at the accusations, I would point out that most, if not a lot of those accusers, some of them, even Tariq Nasheed has pointed out, have been discredited with their stories. And most of them, if you listen carefully, at least a few were in consensual relationships with him. One lady that they let on CNN, Barbara Bauman, she even said out of her own mouth that she didn't want to rock the boat with anything because that was her golden ticket. So, anything that Janice Dickinson says, because she was talking about Bill Cosby, how he raped her back in 1982 and called him America's dad. Remember, the Cosby Show wasn't even on until a few years later. But Entertainment Tonight can have her on.
Facts don't matter.
Yeah.
You're in a situation where the facts of it don't matter because a black man, and this is what Jonathan is learning right now, in the court of public opinion, a black man cannot consensually have sex with a white woman. And a black woman cannot deny sex to a white man. If a white man wants a black woman, nobody wants to hear her say no. And if a white woman wants a black man, nobody wants to hear her say yes. So at any time, the white woman can come back and claim it is not consensual. Yeah, Vince McMahon is sitting up here doing the most, and he's right back where a publicly traded company. And the state secretary of state and nobody else is trying to come after him. Nobody's trying to come after him for that. Nobody. So absolutely, a black man cannot consensually have sex with a white woman. They reserve the right at any time, ex post facto, after the fact, to come back and say that it was not consensual. Whether it was an hour ago, a week ago, a year ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, it can never be settled that it was consensual. Never. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah. Right. Well, it was not. Yeah, you're definitely right. I will say this, too, about the comedians at that time, just what you stated. Bill did have, I know, like I Spy and Fat Albert in a couple of shows. And I think with Hollywood, because I noticed just being inside, they were giving TV shows to comedians, especially in particular. They just had to, who they thought were either family friendly or could sell product. And, Cosby was big with commercials, with Jell-O pudding and Kodak, and Brandon Turnikoff saw that, and he saved NBC. Eddie Murphy saved Saturday Night Live, but Bill Cosby saved NBC.
Well, he was chosen because it was his turn, because remember, because we're a lot older now, but please keep in mind, from 1969 to 1981, brother, that's only 12 years. That's only 12 years from 1969 to 1981. That's only 12 years. We're now, a decade away from Trayvon Martin being killed. 11 years now. We're 11 years from Trayvon Martin having been murdered. So we've kind of forgotten, because some of us may not have been born and were there. It was only 12 years from 1969 to 1981. So what I'm saying is that the riots and the murder of Dr. King and the Panthers rising, all of that was still very fresh in people's memories. Very fresh in people's memories. So there was this national concerted effort to give black people the feeling of inclusion so that they wouldn't take to the streets anymore. So now it becomes about getting black folk government jobs and getting them jobs at the post office. Now it becomes about getting representation on TV. And here comes Diane Carroll and here comes Oprah Winfrey. And here comes Bill Cosby. Because if black folks see themselves on TV, it will give them the impression that, well, hey, if I just work hard enough, I can get an opportunity over there. Now you come to the rise of televised sports. Here comes the NBA and the championship final. Here comes the true rise of the Super Bowl in the NFL. That didn't happen until the 80s. It's not till the 80s that the NFL really blows up. It's once we get to the 80s and they start giving out these big sports contracts for the TV networks, start paying this big money for these sports contracts. Here we come with the big contract. We've gone beyond baseball. Now here comes the NFL and the NBA where black men dominate in disproportionate numbers. So you've got not one but two major sports leagues, unlike baseball, that are now instantly dominated by black males. So now you're giving everybody the impression that, hey, if I try hard enough, I can join the NBA. If I try hard enough, I can join the NFL. They're telling their kids, hey, things done changed. We's on TVs now. Things done changed. We's on TV. That's literally what was going on in the 80s. They put big money behind that. You know why? Because it's a hell of a lot easier to put $100 million into the NBA and give you the impression you can be a ball player than to put $100 billion into rebuilding your city after it's been burnt down. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. If you all want to know how it works, it's a whole lot cheaper to pay $100 million to 20 or 30 black men in the NBA at that time than to pay $100 billion to rebuild your city. So yeah, that's an investment in domestic tranquility. That we're just making an investment in, y'all are giving everything away to the Negroes. Actually, we're trying to save some things. That's don't worry. This is an investment in domestic tranquility. It'll be all right. And they've been running this game plan ever since. Call of America code 770. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Damon from Atlanta.
Damon from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
What's going on, brother? Banger broadcast as always. And what I want to kind of lay out in front of the B1 family is that we always have to understand that with the same tenacity that white supremacists always like to say, when a black person gets shot by the cops, it doesn't matter what the situation is. They always say, wait until the facts come out. No matter how egregious it is, we need to keep that same energy when it comes to when stories about black men come out. We need to understand what time it is. And from the media perspective, they're always going to put stuff out there to kind of see if we take the bait. So with algorithms, what they can do is they can boost stuff to the top of the algorithm to see if we'll talk about it. Because I'll be honest with you, I was as guilty as anybody when the whole R. Kelly stuff came out a few years ago. People were sharing memes and stuff like that. And we think it's all fun and games. But because black people are so over-indexed with social media, then when we make stuff go viral, it goes viral not just amongst ourselves, but amongst the outside community too. So to the B1 family, I want to kind of say, look, we don't need to think that with the Me Too movement, the Believe All Women, we shouldn't say that with all black males, because it is conceivable that, you know, some black males are guilty of things. But we also need to understand that the media has a vested interest in making sure that we share and we basically contribute to our own demise by sharing negative stories about black folks. So the Michael Irvin thing being a case in point, because he does have a history of, you know, in the past, of, you know, not so good things or whatever.
Well, I mean,
so
yeah, but Michael's never had a history of doing something like that. Michael had a history of drug use, but Michael ain't really had a history of doing something crazy like that.
The point, though. Like,
thank you very much for giving us a call, folks. Keep it short tonight here. We don't want to monologue here, so I can give you a minute here, but let's keep it short. I got a lot of folk who want to get on the phone here, so let's not monologue here. Let's get in, get it, and get out. But definitely in the chat room there, you're right. You started seeing this rise of black-led television programming and black folks starring on these TV shows. Because you got to remember, the white men who ran these television and radio networks, they didn't have any connection to the black street. So what they did was they got people like Norman Lear, who was whitest of the white men, but you always had this group of white men who, you know, they kind of cavorted with black people on the low. They knew the black churches to go and recruit singers from. Those were the white men who they started ringing their phones after the 60s. They start ringing their phones after the 60s. Carsey and Werner, they start ringing their phones after the 60s and tell them, hey, can you find us some niggas to put on TV? Norman Lear was the most famous, but he wasn't the only one. But they started grabbing all these black folks, so they had a white man that they knew they could call, whether it was in television or radio. They had white men back then because the CEOs who ran the companies, they didn't have any connection to the black street, but there was a white man they had out there somewhere. He had his finger on the pulse at the black church, the black juke joints, the black dance clubs, the black theater, because we used to have a black theater in this country. Now they call it the Chitlin Circuit. Actually, they called it that back then too. But all of a sudden, they knew how to make their way over to the Chitlin Circuit and go grab some talent and get them on TV. All of a sudden, them black folk who were known for doing those naughty comedy albums got TV shows. Remember, Richard Pryor did have a television show. I remember it when I was a child. Most of y'all might remember it on CBS. Richard Pryor did have a children's television show, which was ironic enough, by the way. It wasn't just Bill Cosby. They gave Pryor's Place. How many of you are old enough to remember Pryor's Place? These young kids may hear about Richard Pryor, but if those of us who lived it don't remember the actual events, it's not like they're doing reruns of it anywhere. How many of you remember Pryor's Place? Yeah, they gave Richard a little bit of leeway, but they didn't give him a primetime gig. Yeah, if I didn't remember the name, most people might not remember the name. I know some of you do, but a lot of these folks don't remember that. So how is it he got skipped over? It's like, yeah, but all the real money got given to Bill. That wasn't accidental. So yeah, coming out of the 60s, you had a whole bunch of these white CEOs who called whoever their white man was on the street, who had a little bit of English. Because can we keep it honest? Diana Ross. Too soon? Too soon? Is it too soon? I'm just saying that there were certain women who had a pedigree or they had an appeal in the dominant society and they was booed up real early on. They were booed up real early on. We talking about coming right out of the 60s and they was booed up like, man, look here. All right. All right. Let me just leave that alone. Call from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Carlos from Harlem.
Carlos from Harlem. What's on your mind?
I mentioned a couple of times about Christian Bale in the chat room, and it doesn't seem to be hitting on nothing. So I just want to unpack that for 1 minute. In 2008.
Okay, if it did, sir, Bale. If it didn't, it's probably for a reason. And if you're like, well, it didn't resonate in the chat room, so I'm going to call up to see if I can make it resonate, sir. You're probably going to make it probably did. It probably didn't for a reason. What you're about to say is probably something that's actually not the same. But why don't you go ahead and try it anyway? Because I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. I'll give you 30 seconds. Go ahead and try it anyway.
He was arrested for domestic violence for beating up his sister and his mother in a hotel room, all buffed and is polished. And I'm saying that,
and sir, that is wrong.
That is speculating.
And sir, factually, what you're saying is wrong. Over there in Britain, what he was arrested for was having an argument with them. At no time was he accused of physically, they call it assault, which basically was him yelling at them, because Christian does have a temper on him. But he was not arrested for beating up anybody. That wasn't what they did that for.
I'm looking at the headline. It says Christian Bale arrested for assault on mother and sister.
Yes, sir. But what you're talking about is violence. That's what I'm saying, sir. Christian, there's a reason why he never went to jail, never anything for it. There's a reason for that. So dig into it a bit more, sir. That's what I'm saying. I know what you're going to say, but you're being misled because those words, that charge and those words, the connotation you're making in your mind for the U.S. is not what it is over there. There's a reason why it went the way it did, sir. So, yeah, you keep reading that word assault. That's why I stopped you when you said domestic violence. Wait a minute. What did he do? Oh, assault. And you're sitting there telling me he beat him up. You didn't actually investigate it. So Google's your friend. Take a little time. Look into it further. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, let me get caller code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. It's Tony calling from Mott Haven in the Bronx.
Okay, Tony from the Bronx. What's on your mind?
No, I just want to say fantastic broadcast, and I really just wanted to quickly say, with Jonathan Majors, the false accusation against him, the false accusation against Michael Irvin, and Tiger Woods' lady is starting to drum up a potential false accusation against him as well. We, as black people, we just have to say, when it comes to Becky and Karen making accusations, they are liars until proven to be telling the truth. And that's all I wanted to say. It's a long history of this kind of thing in our country, and you just can't believe the word.
Well, I'm going to go. No, I'm going to go beyond that. You say they're liars. I don't care if they're not. I don't care if they're not. Ezra Miller is still out here representing Warner Brothers and The Flash. Now, let me give you all an idea. The Batwoman movie they were going to make starring the black woman. Here's what your white supremacists on YouTube don't say. That Batwoman movie starring the black woman that Warner Brothers and David Zaslav canceled, that was $100 million they had to write down. $100 million. But they scrapped it and said, we're not going to release it. We're not going to release it theatrically. We're not going to release it on HBO Max. We're not putting that movie out. We will just go ahead and eat the loss. That was what they did. That's what they did for that Batwoman movie starring the black woman. Okay. So that $100 million wasn't too much for y'all to write down. You could write that off. But Ezra Miller, so $150, $200 million, that's too much to write down? So we can't cancel Ezra Miller's movie. We can cancel the Black Chicks movie. I'm going to check that. Dark Titan, I want to check on that again. Why want to check on that again? Let's not start that. I might want to check on that again. We can cancel her movie. Don't start that, Dark Titan. Folks are gonna get banned up in here tonight. I'm gonna start kicking folks out of here if they start saying silly things. I'm gonna start kicking you out. I'm gonna start banning people if they say silly things. If you want to sit up here and have a civil war in your own head, you go ahead and do that on your typewriter, on your Ouija board. Scribble in the dark to yourself. Don't come in my chat room with that. This isn't the place for you to sit up here and have conflict with yourself. We can sit up here and write down her movie and write that off. We can go ahead and do that. We can go ahead and do that. But we don't have to sit up here for Ezra. That's too much. It's too much. We can't do it. Caller from area code 803. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? It's Lewis from Florida.
Lewis from Florida. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this quick, but I just it's more of a question. I mean, like, what's stopping us from making our own political party so we can get, in Congress and get what we want?
Nothing at all, sir. Go ahead and get started on it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 229. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Rod from Valdosta.
Okay, Rod from Valdosta. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason. Hey, brother. Hey, like, they've been trying to get us to turn our back on our people for the longest, like, they really publicized when Bill Cosby talking about, Bill Cosby said young black men need to pull their pants up and young black men need to do that. Bill Cosby is saying this about rap music and this and that, trying to get, and it's like a setup. And once they got them set up, bam, they dropped that bomb on them. So, and yeah, he said some messed up things, just like R. Kelly done some messed up things, and a lot of Kanye. Therefore, they get the green light to railroad them, But they realize, no, we don't turn our back on our people like that, not like that. Yeah, they may do some messed up things, but you ain't gonna railroad them like that. just because they black.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Melissa calling out of Brooklyn.
Melissa out of Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
I just, do you think they, Marvel Disney would like scrap any future projects they have with Jonathan Majors? Because like I do watch the Marvel movies. Unfortunately, I know Phase 4 and Phase 5. Yeah, I know, but I did see Ant-Man, and Jonathan was pretty much like the main draw of the whole movie, and I just would like to hear your opinion. Do you think Marvel Disney would take the chance and just like completely recast him? Because they have long-term plans with the King the Conqueror character. Like that's going to be like phases like 4 through I guess whatever phase they want to go through. So I just wanted to hear your opinion on that.
Can you put anything behind them? I mean, anything beyond them? Can you put anything beyond them?
Right.
Just understand they'll make investments in it. Because right now the movies from Marvel Cinematic Universe are not doing so great. It's not doing so great. And with that being the case, that's going to be real hard. That's going to be real hard. So here's the thing, you can't put it past them. They could make a swerve. That would be their excuse to go ahead and do that. Go grab somebody who's not worth as much money. Make all kinds of changes. Hell, it might be their excuse to cancel the whole phase 5 altogether and just wrap it up. You can't put anything beyond them. So right now, it depends on whether or not it serves them. It depends on whether or not it serves them.
Right. It just seems like they invested so much into his character, King the Conqueror, and now with this news breaking, it's like, are they willing to give up like millions and millions, maybe billions of dollars? Because yeah, you're right. Like the last 2 Marvel phases 4 and phase 5, they haven't been doing so well because you do have a lot of white nerds in spaces saying like Disney Marvel has become woke, like quote woke, and they're recasting all these like classical Disney Marvel white Marvel characters as black, and that's automatically woke. But I realized like when it came time for like I guess in phase I don't know, like say for instance in the first Doctor Strange movie, they made the Ancient One originally the Ancient One was like a Tibetan monk, but they made it for the movies into a white woman, and no one complained.
Yeah, the Ancient One was originally Asian, always was in the comic books and everything else. But when they cast what's her name, Hilda Swan or whatever her name was, when they cast her as the Ancient One, that wasn't called woke. I want to remind you all that wasn't called woke. All of your white supremacist YouTubers who are so concerned about race swapping today, when they did that to the Ancient One, that wasn't called being woke. So in other words, woke means not white. That's all woke means. It just means it ain't white. And they're here to guard that. They'll guard that jealously. Now, you can be erased. That's not woke. There's anything wrong with that. That's just a casting choice. But for them, they're letting you know, oh, this is a racial battleground. It sure is. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And by the way, one more thing. Folks, there's just a bunch of people here who Google is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. For some of these folks, I'm just going to say this real quick and be through with it here. Folks, if you really don't want to make yourself look like an idiot in the chat room somewhere, Google something before you say it. Okay? If you don't know who Leslie Grace is, you literally could have gone to Google and typed in Leslie Grace Afro-Latina. Warner Brothers Batwoman, Batgirl movie, canceled Batgirl movie. You literally could have done that, seen who it is starring in it, and literally could have typed in her name, Leslie Grace Afro-Latina. But I'm in a good mood tonight, so I'm not going to ban a bunch of people. But by the way, folks, I know when you have an audience of black folk, you see a number of black people, the temptation can get the better of you. Hey, let me get some attention. Some folks are like, let me get some attention and just get banned. Did you see? Ooh, he must have seen me. He banned me. Okay. Grow up, man. Grow up. Caller from area code 251. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Devon out of Birmingham. How you doing?
All right, Devon out of Birmingham. What's on your mind?
Well, look, Going back to what you discussed, you talked about the setup, how sometimes they already know the dirt on you. I feel like in sports, the colleges also do that. These are billion-dollar enterprises, and they know where these young guys come from. They know the hardships. They know what these guys went through. They know the community. And I feel like when they set these guys up and they have their, the day that they get chosen for a team, some of these guys come from poor areas, and they tell the whole world that these guys are making, 20, 30, $100 million. And it automatically, it puts them at a separation from the community. You don't really see that with baseball or soccer. Or they don't have a big day where they parade those guys out there and then point a picture at their communities and a lot of the, just a lot of destructive things about their past. And it does seem like they just aim that camera at a lot of those black athletes. What do you think about that? I mean, is there any truth to that?
Well, in the case of baseball, they've always been able to successfully bury black baseball players. If you all are going to be honest about it, I mean, you can name Hank Aaron and Reggie Miller, but I mean, Mr. October, I forget his name. Reggie, his last name escapes me right now. This is going to be terrible. But Mr. October, everybody knows what it is. And after him, you really only got 3 more, to be totally honest. Bo Jackson, Barry Bonds, and Sammy Sosa. Reggie Jackson, thank you, everybody. I'm saying Reggie Miller. That's what I said. No, that's the ball player. I'm like, y'all know I'm terrible at sports. Y'all know I'm terrible at sports. Don't even get me started. But what I'm saying, though, is that when you think about it, you can name really the iconic black players on 1 or 2 hands. Yeah, we might have risen to the top of the sport, but really, as far as being the mantle bearers, not really. They buried that quick. They started bringing in Japanese players, remember? Ichiro. They went around the world. They said, look, anybody and everybody we can find to drown out the black talent. They tried it in the NBA. That didn't work. They tried it in the NBA. That didn't work. Remember Darryl Strawberry? They basically ran him out the sport. Remember old Darryl? They basically ran him out the sport, remember? So where black men are concerned, they've always tried to make sure they bury you. They couldn't do it in football because that just wasn't going to happen. So they've just basically had to hold their nose and keep rewriting the rules for the quarterbacks. That's what they've had to do. Rewrite the rules for the quarterbacks and leave it to the team owners to give preferential treatment to the white men for coaching. But as far as on the field, they basically had to hold their nose and look at these black men. In the NBA, they keep steadily trying to rework the formula, but what was his name? Mao Ling? What was that? Whatever. Mao Ling? Was that the tall Asian fellow? What was his name? I forget his name.
Right.
There was a tall Asian fellow. I want to say his name was the chat room will be on in a minute. But y'all remember him. Now, was that a desperation play or what? Was that a desperation play or what? They're like, look, just anybody, damn it. Anybody. Can you give us someone else we can promote?
Right. And it's just things like ESPN, once the season is over, they focus on all the small percentage of black players who get in trouble. And you don't really see them do that with baseball. You don't really hear about, the baseball player's drunk daddy and his broken home. It's like they put this little poor porn on there about the black players, and it's like the same story, about how
they talk about how they go broke.
Their life
they talk about how they go broke. You know what? I'd like to hear about the black players who turn that $50 million into $500 million. They haven't done a bunch of stories about Shaquille O'Neal and the string of restaurants and the chains that he's got together, the car washes. They didn't do that about Emmitt Smith. I'm sitting there, nigga. I'm living in Dallas watching Emmitt Smith do this, and ain't nobody covering it.
Exactly.
I'm living in Dallas.
They talk about the idiot.
Those of us who were in Dallas at the time, we living there and watching Emmitt Smith do this, and they ain't paying attention. They talking about Michael Irvin getting in trouble.
Exactly.
Now, Michael Irvin, they had the cameras over at Michael Irvin's house. Emmitt Smith is up here building and doing some great things, and not a camera to be found for 1,000 miles.
Image control. Put a negative image out there so all these young guys, they see how we make it but can't maintain it.
Yeah, I've been by Magic's Theater in New York City. I got footage of it. I've been by there, and Magic, they'll acknowledge him to an extent. And when he bought the Dodgers or whatever, I forget which team it was. I think of the Dodgers. That's cool, but man, they hate that. They hate that.
Yeah,
they hate that with a vengeance. So hell, they talked about AIDS forever. They like, is this nigga ain't dead yet?
Right.
They kept talking about AIDS. He ain't dead yet.
They focus on the idiot.
Can we go ahead and get that? So now
Exactly.
that's what they talk. They know what the hell they're promoting. They know what the hell they're doing. They're constantly hoping for your downfall. That's why I tell you all.
Man, that's what I was going to say.
Do not believe. Don't be a fool and believe for a damn minute that these sports leagues prioritize talent. They prioritize usefulness. If you are, I don't give a damn if you could hit a 3-pointer every single night with your back turned and your eyes closed. If you come through that door talking like Muhammad Ali, you come through that door like that, man, you ain't going to get a contract anywhere. You'll just be one of these people on YouTube. Oh, look at him. He's fantastic. Boy, he's amazing at what he does there. You'll just be one of these people on YouTube. Why can't he get a contract? It's like, yeah, then you go take a look at some of the stuff he does. Oh, you can't get one. Yeah, not you. We don't give a damn what you can do. You can't get one. Understand something. I've told you all this for years and years now. They would rather make $100 million that they control than $1 billion that they don't. Don't ever forget that. They would rather make $100 million knowing they can control it than to make $1 billion that they know they can't. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Y'all said Yao Ming and Jeremy Lin. Remember, they tried that for the longest damn time, and I'm not a basketball fan like that, but I remember that. Yeah, they even gave the name Lin Sanity. Yeah, they even gave it a name. Remember that? They was trying so damn hard. By the way, whatever happened to them two? They were trying so damn hard to boost that. They were trying so hard to boost that. How'd that work out for them? Caller Miracle 417, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Al from Springfield, Missouri.
Al from Springfield, what's on your mind?
Yes, you know, speaking of sports and everything, and the other sport that they kind of got black folks out is boxing, especially in the heavyweight division right now, because you know they've been trying to promote Tyson Fury, and there's one other Ukrainian boxer and everything else. Because the moment that Anthony Joshua got beat twice, and then Deontay Wilder and everything, they've been trying to promote those guys, and yet they forget about the fact that you have UFC champion John Bones Jones right now, who I don't know how the hell he survives this onslaught he's been going throughout much of his career.
Because they didn't have anybody in his weight class to replace him with. And because of how much trouble he's in, you could pull his card at any moment. Literally, Dana White could literally just get up and do a war machine on him and just say, yeah, we're done. At any time he wanted to, he could yank that belt off of Jones. He could do it right now today. He could, and understand, that gives them leverage. You all don't understand how Dana White works. He's always done this. For example, if you're in one weight class, Dana gonna lean on you. If you clear out the division, Dana's gonna lean on you to change weight classes. Remember, Jones cleared out the light heavyweight division not once but twice. So it was like, okay, you got to change weight classes. Conor McGregor, when he started becoming a nuisance, you got to change weight classes. He fights Diaz and gets a beat. So Dana's always had that in his back pocket where even if you're good, he knows he's going to lean on you. Even if you succeed, it's going to be, okay, you got to change weight classes, which is one of the trickiest things for you to do if your natural weight doesn't straddle the weight classes. Now, if your natural walking around weight straddles it, you can cut weight and get to a certain weight class or bulk up a little bit and get to another. But if you're just naturally 205 pounds, that's going to be a struggle to put on another 20, 25 pounds of muscle. And it's going to be a struggle to drop 20 pounds because now you're not as powerful as you were. You're thinner than you were. You might be a little bit quicker, but like if you're a wrestler, you're going to lose a lot of that strength from that bulk you had from that extra muscle. So that's one of the techniques that he used to be able to get folk to drop belts. Now, Anderson Silva never fell prey to that, but that's because he had plenty of competition. But for most of them others, yeah, Dana could lean on you. You got to change weight classes. In John's case, he leaned on him. You got to change weight classes. John basically leaves the UFC. He basically drops out the UFC for 3 years. I want to say it was the pandemic when he dropped out, and he just had another fight here a couple weeks ago at heavyweight. So how many of these guys can stick around and do that? But understand, Dana White could come up tomorrow and yank that belt off of John. And all you got to do is get a DA somewhere to say something. Get a DA somewhere to say something about John Jones at this date, and Dana could just come up and say, "Yeah, we've had enough." Yank.
That's right. That's what they did to that one heavyweight Francisco, whatever his last
Francis
name was.
Ngannou. And that was a bit more of a principle dispute. He was trying to push for a harder deal, but the truth is he wanted the same thing everybody else wanted. He wanted more money. And the UFC has always been tight. Remember, McGregor fought Mayweather to prove a point. That's when Dana put the hit out on him. Next thing you know, he comes back and gets his leg shattered. Dana put the hit out. They've been doing that for a minute. In Francis' case, he's like, hey, drop them dollars, or I've been talking to Tyson Fury, and I think I can knock him out, and he can. So, like I say, it's just one of those things. Whether it works out for him, I don't know, but I will concede when you're dealing at these levels and stuff, man, with John Jones, how does he get by? It's because they got the goods on him. They got the goods on him, and there was nobody else to really take his place. We can come get him anytime we want to get him. We can just walk up and yank that belt off of him. And guess what? Nobody's going to shed a tear because he's basically the most hated man in MMA. Nobody cares about John Jones. Nobody loves him. He doesn't have any love or adoration. Folk would love to see him get knocked out or taken out. One or the other. So if you're Dana White, that's the best of both worlds. You've got a heel that everybody wants to see get beat. He doesn't lose, but anytime you want to take him out, you can. That's the sweet spot. He's going to be there as long as you want him there and not 1 second longer. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. It's a dirty business. It's a dirty business. Joshua, that's a very real possibility. That's a very real possibility. Like they said, they keep running him until they get somebody they know gonna beat him. Somebody they're gonna let take some steroids or something. They'll let somebody take some steroids or some testosterone and then put him out to pasture like they did McGregor. Caller from area code 937. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Calvin in Jacksonville.
Calvin in Jacksonville, what's on your mind?
The U.S. Army had a ad featuring Jonathan.
Yeah, they
Majors,
pulled the ad.
They pulled it.
They pulled the ad. That didn't take no amount of time. That took no amount of time. Now, if Jonathan came out as LGBT, now that would have been a tricky one for me. Now, if he didn't come out as LGBT, that ad would probably still be up. That ad would probably still be up. Not because they love no black folk either. Somebody said that, did y'all say that Yao Ming is in the Hall of Fame? Is that what you all said? Did you all say that Yao Ming is in the Hall of Fame? Or is that Jeremy Lin you said was in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, Yao Ming was in the Hall of Fame. Will someone tell me in the Hall of Fame for what? I mean, I know why Michael Jordan is there. I know why Shaq is there. I know why Kobe's there. I know why Kareem is there. I know why Magic is there. Why is Yao Ming there? What championship season did he have? What instrumental play did he make? What incredible revolutionary part of the league did he do? I'm just asking. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me what did Yao Ming do to warrant being in the Hall of Fame? Can someone tell me? Because I can tell you about Jordan and the Bulls. Damn near the whole damn team should have been in the Hall of Fame. The Lakers back in the 80s, Magic, Kareem. Y'all know it? I can tell you about that. Will someone tell me what the hell Yao Ming did? What team was I don't even remember what team he was on. What did he do? I'm trying to figure out where was this revolutionary championship team that he was the captain of. They were down in the dumps before he got there, and now they were. Where's the championship team he built? Where was the championship team that was built around him? Someone explain that to me. I'm not dissing nothing. I'm just saying, can you bring me the facts? By the way, what was the criterion that they wrote in on his ballot? He played with the Rockets? Did he actually play, or did he just get signed and he walked around the court a few times and then sat down? What did he do? Did they win a championship when he was there? Did the Rockets win a championship when Yao Ming was on the team? I'm just asking. He was very tall. Is that what they wrote on the ballot? He was taller than we thought he'd be? I'm voting for Yao this year. What's wrong? I didn't think they grew him that tall. How do you spell Ming? So I'm just asking. Come on now. I'm trying to figure out what extraordinary benefit did the team get? Where's this extraordinary team? Like, you can say LeBron James. LeBron James has every team he gets on goes home with a trophy. They should rename the Hall of Fame LeBron James Hall. That makes sense, whether you agree with it or not. Yao Ming, I'm like, okay, I want to see the Houston Rockets documentary that talks about how essential he was. Can someone show me the Houston Rockets documentary before Yao and after? I want to find out where that one went. What did he do? I don't think he brought that many Asian dollars. I don't think he brought that many. And even if he did, that gets you a Hall of Fame slot? He scored 3 points a game, but he got us an extra $100 million. That's how we get in the Hall of Fame now? I'm just saying, I'm not saying he actually did that, but I'm just saying, even if that were true, yeah, we got an extra $50 million off of him. Hall of Fame. Really? Yeah, he only scored like 4 points a season, but Hall of Fame. And then y'all wonder why I don't watch team sports anymore. Folk talk about boxing is crooked. Boxing is crooked, but Yao Ming is in the Hall of Fame. Boxing is crooked, but Yao Ming is in the NBA Hall of Fame. Really? We might all want to organize and get together and have a commission where we determine the definition of this word crooked. Boxing is crooked, but Yao Ming got a jersey in the Hall of Fame. All right. Call of Miracle 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Jason? This is AT calling from Atlanta by way of Lagos.
AJ from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
I didn't catch the beginning of the broadcast, but I heard y'all talking about MMA and NBA. Yao Ming, 7'6", Chinese man, revolutionized the way the NBA marketed itself to other markets, especially the Chinese market.
Oh,
he was a formidable center. It could never get past the Lakers, I believe. All my sports fans check me on that, but he was a very formidable.
Did he win a title?
Did not win a title. I think the Houston Rockets haven't won a title since Hakeem Olajuwon was.
Okay, I'm about to say I've never heard Yao Ming. Not granted, I don't follow sports like that, so it would be very easy for me to miss it.
Yeah,
but I don't think I've ever heard him mentioned with a champion. I know the Rockets have won a championship. I've never heard his name mentioned with a championship team. So I'm pretty sure when they did have a championship team, he wouldn't own it.
Yeah, he wasn't a scrub. I think injuries ultimately took him out. But
brother, okay, he wasn't a scrub. Okay, but was he Hall of Fame caliber? Really? What did I miss?
Him and the Lakers had some good battles. He did his thing. He just couldn't get past them to win the championship.
Okay, brother, these are a lot of symbolic accolades. Very clearly, you're a Yao Ming fan. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying.
I'm just
holy
a basketball.
smokes.
Watch basketball.
Brother, I'm just saying. Even I remember little old John Stockton. I remember John Stockton from the 90s. I remember that. He wasn't no standout player, but he was part of a championship team, so we're going to give him some honorary credentials. Okay, John, you were there. Yao Ming can't even say he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm just saying, what the hell criterion we use? Was he ever a high scorer? Did he ever have a record-breaking season? Did he ever have a breakout season? Was he ever the leading point scorer at any time, for anything, anywhere? Help me find something. I'm trying to help Yao. I'm trying to help him now.
And he might have been the league MVP once, maybe, but I'm not sure. I have to fact check that.
Okay, but think about this for just a few moments. Slow down. Wait a minute. Just one thing. Think about this for just a few moments. If he was, even if he was an MVP, if that was such a great year, wouldn't you be like, he was an MVP? Not, I think he was an MVP, but I'm not sure I remember. I'm not sure I remember. I think that's proof that it wasn't a season to write home about. That's all I'm saying. This was a Hall of Fame season. Oh, folks, I don't know what to say. Look, I'm up for a jersey then. If Yao Ming can get in the Hall of Fame, Jason Black is up for a jersey, clearly. Clearly, I underestimated my abilities. I should have tried out. Very clearly, I should have. I was a lot closer to that athletic dream than I ever thought I was. Can't believe I psyched myself out of it. I can't believe this.
Yeah. But as far as Bone Jones is concerned, I think what issue with him is like he said, he ran through the heavyweight division a couple of times, kicking everybody's ass left and right, smacking up white people left and right, and then he smacks up the white girl, can't stay off the opioids, and now, that's his downfall. But I mean, but as far as he's by far one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, and I guess to label a black man like that, it just irks them that they have to give that label to a black man, but in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for giving this call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Yeah, y'all, I mean, I don't think Yao Ming was ever on an MVP championship team, nothing like that. I'm not dissing him. I'm not saying he shouldn't have played. I'm not saying they shouldn't have recruited him. All that's great. Hall of Fame. Nah, El Vengeance, I could have played for the Bullets before they renamed the team. I could have played for them, or the Clippers. I could have made that. Hell, the Timberwolves. How you gonna keep me off the Timberwolves? Do you see some of the niggas on that bench? Really? So I can't play, but they can stay? I can't get a contract, but they can. Really? I know y'all running the scam now. Call America code 720. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Dred Scott from Denver, Colorado.
Dred Scott from Denver. What's on your mind?
I'm not trying to defend Yao Ming, Jason, but
right before he gets ready to defend it. Go ahead.
No, I'm not defending him at all. I'm just saying it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame.
Okay, so what's
you don't even have to have played in the NBA to make it into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so yes,
we already know they're gonna make a way for their people to get in there.
You're right, but here's the point: you don't have to have played to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Absolutely, you could be a team owner and be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. Do they put every?
No, I'm talking about professional. You could be college and make it to the Hall of Fame. You could be high school and make it to the Hall of Fame.
Right, but what I'm saying is, don't you have to do something significant to get in the Hall of Fame? Or does everybody get to be in the Hall of Fame?
No, they were trying to use him to replace Shaq.
That's my point, is that, granted, you don't have to even play. I get it. You don't have to be in NBA. I get it. But by the way, you have to have earned the right to get there. Otherwise, the argument is, well, yeah, everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. If you can drill basketball, you get in the Hall of Fame. This hall, they're going to need to build a new wing. This hall's going to get very, very full very quickly. If that's the criterion, no, it needs to be you had to do something. So I'm like, okay, what did he do?
Like you said earlier, you have to be good, but they can't be better than the best. So they got to do their trickery.
Man, look here. Somebody's going to have to get Johnny Cochran to come substantiate this to me, because I'm like, okay, Yao, show me what it was that you did that qualified you. No, just give me the highlights reel. Let me see what it is, and I'll let you know if this qualifies for the Hall of Damn Me Fame. I mean, by definition, the Hall of Fame. It's like fame. I'm famous. Okay, yeah, what are you famous for? Okay, yeah, I know you came from China. Got that. When you got here, what did you do exactly? What'd you do when you got here? Oh, well, I was on the Rockets team, and I got a jersey. Okay, everybody got a jersey too.
He was a big, not black player.
Yao, you gotta do better than that, Yao. You gotta do better than that. I mean, that might be satisfying to folks over the ESPN, but Mr. Black got questions. Okay, I know what fame is, and I know what a Hall of Fame is supposed to be for, and so far I ain't heard how you got in. So, well, listen, I came from China. Okay, they must have slid some big butts under that damn table to get you in the Hall of Fame. You got him on the team. Ain't that enough? Hall of Fame? He got to be in the Hall of Fame too? I mean, he should have to prove himself. No, he shouldn't get a cakewalk. He should have to do some extraordinary stuff for him to be in the Hall of Fame. That's an insult. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get a caller from area code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Bruce from Arizona.
Bruce, from where at in Arizona?
Yes.
Bruce, from where at?
I wonder.
Bruce, from where at in Arizona?
From Parker, Arizona.
Bruce from Parker, Arizona. What's on your mind?
I wonder why a great baseball player is not in the Hall of Fame. He played for Pittsburgh and he played for San Francisco, but yet he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think playing for just more than one
and
team
he has
is
the most.
most. Okay, well, I don't want this to become a sports show tonight. But what?
No.
Okay, who are you talking? Who are you talking about? Just say his name.
Barry Bonds.
Okay, well, Barry Bonds. They got some questions about Barry. They didn't have. Okay, slow down. Slow down. Slow down.
Never.
They got questions about Barry, but the real issue with Barry was kind of out there with it, and he was going stunt. He was so blatant with it, which probably shouldn't have been held against him, but here we go. And one other thing, Barry didn't make a bunch of friends. I'm from Louisiana. Barry didn't make a bunch of friends. Barry did not make a bunch of friends. Barry was known for being somebody who, he didn't get a lot of friends like that. And I remember the sports media back in Louisiana when he was coming up saying that they tried to talk to him and stuff, and he didn't make a lot of friends. Barry didn't make a lot of friends. I guess he figured he was so talented that it really didn't matter. I guess he figured, like a lot of folks, I'm just talented. Well, yeah, you are talented, and that'll be fine so long as you don't run into any trouble. That'll be fine as long as you don't. But if you ever do, you don't have anybody who's going to stand up and speak up for you. Mark McGwire did. Sammy Sosa did. Barry Bonds didn't.
Yeah, but was Barry did Barry get convicted of using steroids?
No. No, the doctor that they dealt with and stuff like that, but the players, for the most part, they all got off basically, because that's what it's going to be. Because the problem is everybody knew it was a wide thing. Jason Giambi, Jose Canseco, A-Rod, who didn't look like he would be taking steroids, but Jose Canseco outed him. So everybody was using it that era. So the truth of the matter is, Major League Baseball does not want to do that investigation because you basically have to clear out half the league. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. He sounds a little sloshed too, by the way. Get my ripple. Let me call Jason. He said, sit back, smile, and dial. Well, I'm sitting back. I ain't smiling, but I'm dialing. Jason, there was a player once upon. What was his name? Barry Bonds. Nigga, you could have just said Barry Bonds. Jason, you don't make me spill my yak. Big lessons to be learned here tonight. I want all of you to go ahead and soak that up and soak that in. If you are a black male, you are guilty until convicted, and you will remain guilty for the remainder of your days. That is exactly what it is. I wish the best to Jonathan Majors. Hell no. Do not recast him. Do not fire him. You leave Jonathan exactly where the hell he is. Anything that happened with her, that's their personal business. You leave him alone. Long live the king. Leave him alone. Ezra Miller can be the Flash. Jonathan Majors can be the Kang. It's good to be the Kang. You damn right. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to send a special shout out here to my man B1 Media is a lifesaver. Thank you very much for your support, brother. As always, thank you very much for your support. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the haven of intelligent black thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight, live or recorded. Thank you very much for supporting tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you very much for liking and subscribing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.